the Couture 303 podcast with Jay Viper.
The Couture 303 podcast is now officially sponsored by Dapper Turkish Barbers in Hunts Cross. You can find them on Wood End Avenue and they do the full service there. The hair, the beard, the ears, the nose, the cutthroat, the hot towels, the lot. It's the only barbers I ever go to. Fantastic service, great lads. No need to book, just pop in and see them 7 days a week. If you want a nice sick fade like mine, you will not be disappointed. The absolute best in the area. That's Dapper Turkish Barbers, Wood End Avenue, Hunts Cross. And now back to the show. Welcome back, guys, to another special episode of the Couture 303 podcast. My guest today, we go back a very, very long way. It's a funny story. I'm sure he'll tell you, and I'll tell you as well. I inspired him, and he inspired me to come back, and we've inspired each other. We've been back and forth for years. I've known this guy for over 25 years. Please welcome to the show, DJ Jenko. How are we, Dave?
Cheers, mate. How are you? Good stuff.
I'm good, mate. We got here finally. What a fucking nightmare that was. Whoever runs the company Zoom, you're a fucking prick. Fucking changing all the settings while I'm not here. Fucking hell.
How did last night's show go? I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
It was all right. It was good, you know. It was good. We started off with some stuff from 1988.
Yeah.
And then finished off with some like mid 2000s hard style. So it's the full spectrum got covered last night.
Awesome, mate.
Right. So, Dave, this isn't your first time on the show, Dave, is it?
No, it isn't.
So for those who don't know, Dave had the bright idea to interview me last year. Was it last year or the year before?
I think so. Do you know what? I lose track of time, but maybe it was like last year, yeah. I'm not sure.
You know what? It wasn't. It was the year before.
Really?
Because it was before I'd announced I was on Reminisce, and I've played twice now.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I'd only just got the radio show, and you decided to interview me, and it was a good little interview, to be fair.
Time to do another one then.
Yeah. Right, so for those who don't know, Dave interviewed me for the podcast. If you go back and look at that, you'll find out a little bit more about me. And it was Dave's first interview, and I think he did really well. So we thought we'd turn the tables. Like I said, I've known Dave a very long time. So we're going to go right back to the start, as we always do, Dave. Yeah. So the first question I always ask everybody, which I'm sure you're aware of, is where and when were you born, mate?
I was born in Ormskirk Hospital on the 11th of March, 79.
What time?
Do you know what? I think it was like 9 a.m.
Oh, don't give me this can't remember shit.
Because my mum's one of them mums, you know, it's your birthday, and she's like, oh, I was just going.
Oh, yeah. I just have my feet behind my ears now.
Hi, Mum.
Yeah. Hi, Dave's mum. Apologies for the visual. So, what was youth like for a young Dave then? Were you a good kid, naughty kid?
I think I was quite well behaved. I think I was quiet in my younger years. Because we were like, you know, similar to yourself, we were poor, mate. We just grew up poor and it was a hard time. So, and as you know, my brothers are Downs. So it just felt like I was always helping my mum and my sisters and stuff. But yeah, I think as I got a little bit older, maybe I got a little bit mischievous. But I was never like in any serious trouble or anything, you know, never had the police at the door or never like pissed me teachers off or anything. Yeah. So, yeah.
So you touched on something there, obviously, for those who don't know, it's Phil, isn't it, your brother?
Yeah.
So is Phil younger or older than you?
He's younger, 5 years younger.
Okay, so explain the dynamic of that. Obviously, for those who don't know, Dave's brother's got Down syndrome, my daughter's got Down syndrome, another thing we've got in common. So what was the dynamic? I mean, obviously, so you were 5 years of age when he was born.
Yeah.
Did you have any understanding of what was going on at the time, or was it just here's another baby shit? Was there more to it?
I know technology's moved on, and I know a lot of pregnancies can be checked now prior and stuff, but back then I think they were limited on technology. Yeah. So when I speak to my mum about it, and I can remember it, but like I think my mum just went to hospital thinking she was having a normal baby. Yeah. It wasn't just the fact he was born Downs. They didn't actually know he was Downs for 3 days. So my mum had, all the focus was on his heart. They found 2 holes in his heart, which is quite common in Downs.
Yeah.
So that the main focus was repairing his heart. And it wasn't until sort of like, you know, he's got a big like zipper down his chest, that Phil, where they cut him open. But it wasn't until like a few days later when they were like, oh, my mum went to like the midwife or the nurse, whatever. She said, I think I think my baby's a Downs. Just doesn't look, you know.
Yeah.
And then they actually didn't know he was Downs until he was, or it wasn't officially diagnosed until he was about
Yeah.
4 days old.
Yeah.
So it was a bit crazy. But at the time, we didn't really know what the future. Because I mean, Phil's got Downs mates, and some of them have got normal jobs,
Yeah.
you know, and just live a normal life. Whereas some Downses, you know, struggle and you know, they have to adapt to being disabled, basically.
Yeah. When our Nick was born, one of the nurses said to us, "Oh, there's no level. There's no levels. You've either got Down syndrome or you haven't." And you and
Yeah,
I both know that's absolute fucking nonsense.
yeah,
As you said there, there's people with Down syndrome who hold down full-time jobs, you
yeah,
know, and can get the bus to work and go to Asda and get the shopping and all that kind of stuff. And there's poor cases out there, you know, who can
yeah,
barely tie their own fucking shoes and stuff like that.
yeah,
It's to say there's no level. That I thought that was a very naive thing to say, but
yeah.
that kind of how old's Phil now then?
He's 40.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so our Nick's 28. So obviously
yeah,
things have changed a little bit since when Phil was born to when our Nick was born. When
yeah,
our Nick was born, they were on to it straight away. They took it of the first child, whisked it away and all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
And then they were like, "Did you notice anything different about your child?" I said, "Fucking hell, how have they fucking seen it? You fucking took it away straight away. Fucking hell,
Yeah,
what do you want me to what do you want me to see?" And they
yeah.
said, "Oh," and they mentioned like small hands, low set ears. It's a fucking baby. They've all got fucking small. Wasn't like fucking Peter Shilton come out with big glad hands. They've all got little hands, haven't they?
Yeah,
Yeah. And then they
yeah,
said that we think your child might have some kind of a genetic abnormality. And I said,
yeah,
okay, like what? And they said, well, like Down syndrome. And I said,
yeah.
oh right, okay. And then she went, you know, there's options like, you know, have you ever considered adoption? I said, fucking hell, steady on, mate.
My
Me
God,
fucking, me first child's just been born and you're trying to fucking take it off me.
my God.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
fucking, I mean, stuff
You're
like
you're
that.
only young yourself, weren't you?
Yeah, I think at the time I was 21,
Bloody hell.
and next month was 19. So that was very unusual as well, as I'm sure you're aware. It's
Yeah,
very unusual for people of that age to have a kid with Down syndrome. Like, but
yeah,
yeah. So what was it like growing up? Obviously, you had this younger brother, and I imagine there was a lot of focus on Phil. Um, did you naturally just become that protective older brother, or were you? What was it? What was the dynamic like in the house? Because obviously, it's always hard when a second child comes along anyway. But when a
yeah,
second child comes along with specific needs and needs more attention,
yeah.
did you feel that? Was that palatable? Like,
Yeah, I think so there's Ardell's the eldest, then there's me, Phil, and then Louise. So I think um like when I was born, I think Ardell like stepped up and helped me mum bring me up to like 3 toddler age, whatever. And then when our Phil was born, I was sharing a bedroom with our Phil for a while until we got like an extension built. So I think like yeah, I think from what I can remember, I was involved. Like, he used to go to like a resource centre. Like I say, we were poor. We didn't even have a car. We were having to get buses everywhere, and I'd have to help my mum on the bus with Phil and all his gear. And he'd go to like physio and try because he didn't start walking until he was about 4. Yeah.
lazy bastard.
Yeah. So he used to just like shuffle around and that. But you know, his speech, like it's like he's got worse. I would say over the years, and then autism came in later on. But I would say like, yeah, I would say yeah. I think me and Ardell both stepped up, and then
Yeah,
3 years later they had our Louise. So then there was four of us then. You know,
yeah.
but it was a massive strain on the family,
Yeah,
massive
quite a
strain.
brave move that as well, isn't it? I mean, how old was your mum and dad when Phil was born?
Um, I reckon they were 30. Yeah,
Okay, so
32 maybe.
to have what was that, a third child with Downs,
Yeah, yeah,
and then to have a fourth child,
yeah,
quite a
yeah,
risky move, isn't it? Because obviously you are running the risk of you know of another child with Downs and having, you know, half
yeah,
your kids have got a real, you know, a special need, if you like it, without putting a label on it.
yeah.
So yeah, so quite a bold move that. So okay, so school, what were you like in schooling?
So I really tried. I'm known as like, you know, a good student. Really, really tried. I could do schoolwork brilliantly. I couldn't do exams.
Yeah,
So when it came to the end of school, doing my GCSEs and stuff, I didn't score high because it was based on you know, 50% was your coursework,
yeah,
50% was your exam. So like the most that on my GCSEs, I've done horrendous. Like, and the teachers were gutted for me. They were like, "Look, he tries so hard in school, but it's just his exam results. Just it's like I'd just go into an exam, and it was just like, and I'd revise, I'd study, I'd try and remember things. My mum would help me get me a tutor, and and I think that went into adult life as well. I sort of had this like insecurity about my like sort of IQ, like my own intelligence, and I always felt like I was in the shadows, and you know I could never like walk into a room confident and like own the room, and if I did, it was an act. I always felt like a bit reserved, but I did, you know, I always done me. If I got homework, I'd do it on a Friday, so I could enjoy my weekend. My mum never used to have to worry about anything, you know, because I didn't want to put any extra stress on me. Of
course, yeah.
So I just got on with it. But yeah, it's just a shame. I struggled in exams, mate, and I still do now. You know, like you were saying about you when you were, you know, I didn't know that story when I interviewed you, and you were telling me when you were trying to get into JAG, and you know, like I'm like that, you know, like aptitude tests and trying to, you know, do these tests to get a better job or whatever. You struggle. You know, it's
and the funny thing is, as DJs, we all have a bit of that because we can all go out to a club or a bar or an event or a festival and play out of our skin. As soon as you press that record button, mate, because your hands don't work, your fucking ears don't work, nothing fucking works. It's weird. So, but you've got that all the time, not just through DJing.
Yeah.
So what would you? So growing up, then, I mean, the Dave I know, you've always been quite a sporty individual. You've always been into like martial arts stuff like that. So how did that come about? Was that a byproduct of releasing some energy, or was it, you know, you had to be this big brother to Phil, or was it just an actual passion that you just got involved in?
Me dad mainly. Me dad like studied kung fu. Massive Bruce Lee fan in the 70s. So when I came along in 79, I was his first son. So I just had Bruce Lee shoved down, you know, my throat as much as he could.
Like and Bruce Lee's wife.
Yeah. And I was exposed to a lot of you know, even David Carradine and stuff like that, and Chuck Norris, and as our generation all were. So but my dad was an amateur filmmaker. I'd be ashamed if anyone ever sees these videos, but my dad had Super 8, and he had my uncles and his mates and all that, and they used to go to Formby Beach and make these kung fu films with script and everything.
That's hilarious.
And he made one called The Warriors because one of his favorite films was The Warriors, and some of them were silent movies, but they'd have fake blood. My dad was heavily involved with firearms. My dad was a gun dealer, a legal gun dealer.
That's all coming out now, isn't it?
Yeah, and he used to have like, you know, all like guns with blanks in, and I'd be thinking like, bloody hell, someone must have been walking the dog.
Yeah, you know? See something like a shot on the beach, samurai swords and all that.
Yeah, but and then he had like one of those old Citroens as a company car, you know, that used to like go up, and he's racing round and that, and he jumps out and he's shooting my uncle, and then like there's one where my uncle picks up this like log. Like that, and he's got like a cut-off denim jacket. Like I said, I'd be ashamed if these ever get leaked. And he throws the log, and then like I don't know how he done it, and then it lands on my other uncle's neck and like kills him, and blood comes out of his mouth and all that. Like,
Dave, do us a favour, go and get your dad. You can fuck off. I want to speak to your dad now. Your dad sounds like a fucking G, mate.
So I like loads of soup. You know, like I don't know how he done it because now you can do it on your iPhone, but like loads of like trick photography and stuff, and it was just mad. So he was into his films.
So you were his little protege, his little karate kid.
And then because he was a gun dealer, he used to sell. He used to go to Fazackley Shooting Club, which was under Barlow's Lane. It was in the cellar. So we'd go shooting, and then I'd do jiu-jitsu in Barlow's Lane, and that's how it all started. And then that was so I martial arts from the age of 5. You know, and that's why I'm riddled with injuries.
You'll be the hardest person in the care home. Just bear that in mind.
Yeah.
When you want to watch fucking Countdown, you can fucking watch Countdown. So what martial arts did you do then? You mentioned jiu-jitsu, kung fu.
I started with Japanese jiu-jitsu under like Robert Clark. And then from there, I went into Shotokan Karate. I got my first black belt in Shotokan. But then I was only 11. And I was one of the youngest black belts in the country at the time. And my dad was sort of like, well, when can he do his second dan? And he said, well, he can't do his second dan until he's 18. So my dad was like, he's going to be doing this shit like till he's 18. So because I think it's to do with the weaponry, you learn weaponry at 18. So my dad said, oh, you know, I'm going to pull you out of that. So then my dad pulled me out of the Shotokan. I wasn't enjoying it anyway, to be honest. I'd done my time there. And then I went into Southern Shaolin Kung Fu at the Lishan Kung Fu School, which was a very strict Kung Fu school. So I was there through the kids class, then into the adults, and it was ruthless. It was, to this day, it's the hardest training I've ever done in my life.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah.
Did you ever compete as well?
Yeah. Used to like into tournaments, the national tournaments. You could go into like just kickboxing tournaments and just, you know, apply and go along. Lots of karate tournaments. But yeah, and then from there, I ended up going into the Lao Gar Kung Fu, which is like a kickboxing style of Kung Fu. So it was all about, I was more of a kicker than a puncher. I used to like love showing off. I could do all these fancy kicks. So whenever I did go into tournaments, I very rarely punched. It was all kicking because I used to like showing off.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'd lose the fight because of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I ended up with the Guillaumes then, Bernie Guillaume and Gary Guillaume and Sharon, who've got like TMAS brand. So yeah, I started training with them right the way through the 90s. And then when I sort of got my first house in 99, 2000, I was a young homeowner.
Yeah.
Things just started.
You say young homo then?
Yeah. You know,
what a way to come out here. I was just a young homo, just doing what I could to survive.
Yeah. But yeah, that's where like my martial arts took a bit of a knock, I think, the age of 20, you know, just like started working with you, shifts, being a homeowner, just like, just thought my martial arts just started to dwindle off. And I'm one of them, if I can't do something properly, I don't want to do it at all. And when you're at that level, you need to be training like 4 or 5 times a week. You know, if you just go once a week or 3 times a month, it's not enough, you know.
So when did music become a part? So let's rewind a little bit. Think back to when you were a kid. What kind of music was getting played in the house? Obviously, you had an older sister. You had your parents. Were you exposed to music a lot as a kid, or was that not a part of your life, or what?
Yeah. I mean, my mum and dad both had a decent vinyl collection.
Nice.
Yeah, so I used to like, you know, sometimes used to think, not that I'm spiritual or anything, but sometimes used to think, am I from a different time? Like, am I, you know, because I used to be like really into like the 60s. And I used to like dig all my mum and dad's old vinyls out, like the Beatles, Motown, the Beach Boys, you know, and I used to like love listening to 60s music more than the current.
Yeah.
And I think when I got to say, I don't know, maybe 10, 11, 12 into secondary school, that's when I started to like get into sort of like, you know, Top of the Pops, buying Smash Hits magazine.
Yeah.
You know, me and Ardell would be like swapping tapes. I'd be like, you always say, taping the radio on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just into the chart music then. And then, as I've mentioned a few times, I started buying vinyl myself, but I didn't have like decks. I was just playing it on my mum's, like, you know, whatever record player. So I'd go to Woolies and I'd buy like, you know, Utah Saints, Alternate, you know, things like that. And then, I might buy like a Whitney Houston or Dire Straits, you know, but I had a decent vinyl collection.
Yeah.
And I used to have a morning paper round, so I'd get up half an hour earlier and I'd like put the headphones on, listen to a couple of tunes, and then I'd go and do my paper round then.
Yeah. Happy days. So you obviously like most kids, you're into the charts. You know, you've got an eclectic taste. Like I say, could be Utah Saints, could be fucking Whitney Houston. When did you discover dance music as I believe it was a lad called Barry in a
Barry Martin.
Caravan type. Shout out to Barry Martin. Yes, go on. Tell us that story, Dave.
Yeah, so I was into like Mariah Carey a lot. Around early 90s. I just love Mariah Carey.
This is getting recorded, you know.
So like my room, one side of my room had Bruce Lee, and the other side of the room
Mariah Carey.
had Mariah Carey. Yeah. But yeah, so we went on this caravan holiday, and there was only I took my ghetto blaster, and I said
Blasting out Mariah.
and I said to Barry, right, for every three Mariah, because it was my mum's caravan we were going to, so I went like, right, said, you know, for every like 3 Mariah tunes I play, you can play one of your shite tunes.
And what were his shite tunes?
Yeah. So that's the deal we had. And then he'd have like Vibes and Lively on, Kinetic, Drone, you know, Ramirez. We choose to go to the moon or the chicken song.
Yeah.
And that's all
El Gallinero.
Yeah. And then I sort of like thinking, oh, this is all right.
Yeah.
And I think he got up one morning and I didn't have Mariah on. I had one of his
on, yeah. He's converted you.
That's it, yeah. And then it sort of went from there then. And then obviously that was like 93. And then when we were like 15, not, you know, a bit naughty like, but we used to like sneak into the Kiss nightclub, the Old Fallows.
Yeah.
So we used to go there on like a Thursday and a Friday. And then I remember my first day, it was the day before my 16th birthday. And I went in and You Sure Do was on. And I always remember that tune for that. And I remember walking around the club thinking I owned the place. I was only like 15.
15.
And that's when doormen were like proper doormen.
Yeah.
And you pay a £5 in and you got a drinks voucher for 2 bottles. Yeah. And we paid a £5 in, we got our drinks vouchers. And then this doorman came over. Like, I still have nightmares to this day. He was just like frightened looking. and he just like went, listen, I know you're underage. He went, but just behave yourselves. You know, and he said, I'm going to keep my eye on you. So he let us stay in there.
Yeah.
And then now me and Chris Butler joke about it because it turns out that all the times with the Kiss, I think he was the DJ at the time.
Was he? Yeah.
Back, yeah. Yeah, he done a lot of the gigs in there, like, yeah.
Yeah. Hell. Yeah, because he's a little bit older than me, Chris, isn't he?
Yeah,
you're a little bit younger, yeah. So
So it started there, and then we you know, matured into the Paradox, and then because we all lived in Aintree Village, we were spoiled having the Paradox. So I didn't really go to town until I was
like, you had the Paradox on your doorstep, didn't you?
Yeah, I didn't really go to town until I was about 20, Jay. You know, because it was just every week. It was just the Paradox.
Yeah. Right on your doorstep, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then because all the local little pubs used to feed off the Paradox, they all changed their music policies. So you could go for like pre-drinks at like the Old Roan pub, the Manhattan, the Valentine, the Blue Anchor. If you went into McGull, and all them pubs used to play Paradox music to get you like ready to go there. So yeah.
Anyone stand out from who was playing the Paradox back then? Was it the usual crowd?
The ones I remember were Bobby D, Kev Seed, and Nigel Evans. They're the main ones that I can remember.
Kev Seed, that name rings a bell.
Which we're trying to get him on here.
Hasn't done much, Kev, has he? Fucking hell. I mean, at the time, Kev Seed was like fucking. He was like superstar status, wasn't he? I mean, he was absolutely fucking huge, and a lot of people just know him for the radio. Yeah. But obviously, he was smashing the clubs out as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So your early clubbing days. So, at what point did you decide? Have a little crack at this. Was he a moment, or was it just kind of work out organically, or was it, you know, take me through the transition between going the Paradox and going to town and actually enhancing your record collection and having a go?
So I when I started to serve my time as an engineer, this would have been about around 95, 96. I bumped into a good mate of mine called Paul Franklin. And he started working with me and we became really close, and all his friends were like, they'd already gone into the town scene. I hadn't gone to town yet. So as mine and Paul's friendship became tight, I became part of like his Saturday club where they go to town, buy a new shirt, Ben Sherman or something, you know, we go to the barbers, get our hair done, some beds and all that. Then we'd like get our cars washed or wash our car, and we go cruising around, see everyone, socialise, and then we go to town. And that's when I got introduced to like the 051. There was a mate of his, I think his name was Sean. It was like a distant mate of his, and we ended up going to his house before we went out one day, and he had decks. I don't know what decks they were. I'm assuming they were 1210s because he was proper into his DJing. I was just sat there and he was playing all the tunes that I loved, and I was like, have you got this, have you got that? And he was like, And then I was like, so what you do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like I had a little go and I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And then like I think although it didn't come till years later, I think that from that moment a seed was planted. I thought like I wasn't even looking at like I want to make people dance or I want to be an entertainer. It was more just like I loved the mechanics behind it. I loved how that could transition to that.
Yeah.
And because my attempt was so awful to hear his mixing, and I was just thinking, how's he even doing that?
Yeah. It's like wizardry, and if you don't know what you're
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. So yeah, and then I think it frightened me a little bit. I think like I go back to like struggling in school academically and stuff. I think I just didn't have that confidence to go, I want to do this. And then as I say, you know, growing up, we were poor. As a young engineer serving his time, I was only on, I think, £35 a week or something. So I think money had a lot to do with it. I think if I'd been on more money or I'd had the money or my mum and dad were well off, I honestly think my DJ career would have started a lot earlier because it did sort of have that. I was always into music, whether it was party tunes, chart, club music. I always had this. If we went on a lad's holiday, which we went on a lot, it was like we all had our own roles. Someone would like look after the passport, someone would make sure they had the first aid kit or whatever. My job was the tunes.
You're the music man,
Yeah. So you know, I think I was always sort of involved with music somewhere. And if we went to a family party or something like that. But it's just strange because that would have been around 99. And then I didn't actually start being serious about looking at getting into DJ until 2005. That's when it happened, like 5-6 years later.
Because I remember that. I mean, you just touched on the subject there. Back in the day, to get into DJing, it was a fucking expensive thing to get. Like nowadays, most people have got phones.
Yeah.
Most people have got laptops or tablets. You can get a load of tunes off your mate for fuck all and download some software. And you can have a go at DJing now for next to nothing, you know. And when I say next to nothing, I'm assuming everyone's living, a relatively fucking regular lifestyle like we all do.
Yeah.
We've all got the internet, we've all got this, all got that. If you've got the general things in life, and obviously anyone who's watching this podcast has, it's easy to get into DJing now, but back then you needed actual turntables and actual records, and it wasn't cheap to come by. So it's understandable that it was a desirable thing to get into back in the day because, you know, for me personally, it was the passing of me now that give me that money to get started off. Otherwise, I probably would have never got started off. And I remember when you said that about that was like 1999. I think me and you first crossed paths around about then, because we were buying a car off you.
That's right, yeah.
And then when I went to work where we used to working, well, I call it Goodrich, but it went under many names. Most people know it was Lucas Aerospace.
Yeah.
But when I started there, I think it was called TRW.
Yeah.
And then it went to Goodrich, then it went to UCC. Anyway, I digress a little bit now. But so the first time me and you actually crossed paths, I didn't think you were so when you said that about then, I was like, oh, I thought you maybe had started early, but it makes sense now because I remember you kind of pecking at me and asking me for a little bit of information, and I just assumed, and obviously rightfully so, that you were getting into it for the first time then.
Yeah.
So how did that actually come about then? So it's about 2005.
Yeah, so I would say, well, 2004, I had a lot of weddings that year, like as in friends getting married. And me and Michelle got married in 2003. We were the first out of all our mates to get married, and then people started to follow.
Congratulations.
Yeah, cheers.
Trendsetter.
So I was going to like weddings, and I'd see these DJs coming in and start like setting up and playing the tunes, getting the dance floor going. And it's weird because you'd think like your goal, anyone who wants to be a DJ, their goal is to like, you know, make it to like Mambo's and Ibiza or these big fancy clubs now, you know, in Dubai and you know, the ones in Ibiza and stuff, like all these outdoor events, big arenas and stuff like that. But I didn't look that far ahead yet. I was sort of like, I want to do what he's doing. And he was just doing a wedding. Yeah. And I seen him coming in with his speakers and his decks and everything. And this was like 2004, and I was still actively clubbing. We were going out clubbing and stuff like that. And I was going on lads' holidays, Ibiza, Magaluf, Falaraki, you know, Greece, all that. And I just thought, I want to do what he's doing. And I think the massive turning point was I'd just got my first proper computer, and I didn't have a clue about computers. I just bought my first Packard Bell or whatever desktop computer.
Yeah.
And I remember I thought, I'm going to start creating a digital library of what I've got, even my mum and dad's collection. I thought, I'm going to remember all the tunes that I used to play. I'm going to remember all the tunes that I've got in me. Like, we used to have CDs in racks, you know, like, I'd go through my CDs and go, and I started to collect. So I'd either rip the CD that I had and I'd have to type it up manually and everything. Or then someone introduced me then to like downloading platforms.
Yeah.
And I was like, how'd you download?
Wire and all that. Fucking naughty stuff, that.
Yeah, I was like, how'd you download the tune? And I remember this day, I was about to go out for a run, because me and you were doing a lot of running at the time. And I was training for the Great North Road in Newcastle. And I had a mini disc player.
Legend.
I had a mini disc, which was a wedding present, funny enough. And I thought, I know, because I used to just rip a CD onto a mini disc. I didn't have a clue how to download anything. So I thought, I'm gonna set myself a task today. I'm gonna download my first tune. And I downloaded Pretty Green Eyes, Ultra Beat. That was the first tune. Right? I don't even know where I got it from. Might have been LimeWire, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if Mr. Carla and Redman are watching this, I don't think I paid for it. You know what I mean?
Confessions of a music thief.
I seen them the other week, you know.
I know, you see, we put a post up. So funny story, while I remember that quick, I will go back to that point. So I reached out to Mike Descala quite recently. I've reached out to him a few times, asked him to come on the podcast. And he hasn't said no because he's too big for his boots and all that. He hasn't said no because, you know, he knows who I am, and we had a chat and stuff. He said no because he doesn't really feel that comfortable talking publicly. But he said, I might do. And he said, here's a funny story for you. He said, one of my first ever gigs, he said, was in a bar in town. He said, it ended up being like a nightclub. He said, and it was a DJ competition. He said, and I went there, and he said, I was fucking shit. He said, and the DJ who came on next to me, who come on after me, he went, was you? I went, fuck off. He went, yeah,
wow.
It was in the aquarium in Seal Street. Yeah, before it was called the Aquarium, it was called Jack's Nightclub.
Yeah.
And that was my first ever proper gig, really. I seen the advert in the Echo, this DJ competition. Yeah, little unbeknownst to me, this fucking kid in front of me turned out to be a fucking global superstar, global phenomenon. I mean, he's absolutely massive now. And he said, he said, I couldn't believe it. He said, I didn't play that well. He said, you come on and started scratching and all that. And he says, I thought, fucking get me fucking coat, I'll fuck off.
Oh, mad,
fucking crazy, isn't it?
You have rubbed shoulders with a lot of people, haven't you?
Over the years, yeah. So go on. So you the first track you downloaded.
So I downloaded that. I was like, what do I do here? And I was probably phoning Barry and going, Barry, what do I do next? And all that. And then I got it onto mini disc. And I went for me run, and I just had that one tune on or whatever. And then I come back, and that was it then. I just started like downloading, getting a music library together. And so this was 2004. And then once I started to get comfortable with my computer and know what I was doing, making CDs and creating a library, Michelle said, I think she said, we're going to have a party in ours for Boxing Night party, because we'd not long moved into this house. So she said, are you all right, like, doing the tunes? So I went, yeah, all right. So I just started creating a playlist for this party.
Yeah.
And then I just thought, fuck it, I'll just buy some equipment. You know what I mean? So I went on like the djstore.com or whatever, and I got 2 shite Gemini speakers. I think they were like Newmark all-in-one decks with this crappy mixer. And I got another mixer as well, a USB mixer. Because someone said that's got a built-in sound card, and you can do this, you can do that with it. And I set it all up in the living room. I think there's a picture somewhere. I'll have to dig it out. There's a picture of me in my living room on a table. And I started DJing at like, I had like a playlist playing. And then at 10 o'clock, I went on the decks. And everyone was like, go on then. Everyone was like looking forward to it. Everyone was here. All my mates, family and all that. Like, and honest to God, mate, I DJ till 6 in the morning. And it felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it didn't for the neighbours.
Yeah. it just went like that. Just tune after tune after tune. I found this like, you know, journey, and I just went on it. And you know, everyone was dancing and all that, and I think that was when I just went, I want to do this. I want to do it. And again, I was never looking at like I want to make it to Garland's it was all just about. It didn't matter whether I was doing someone's 18th or someone's 60th. I knew that I wanted to cut my teeth doing mobile discos. You know, and I think, and that's why I really appreciate you asking me on, because I don't know, like, because my career's been more mobile discos than club events. A lot of DJs, they've cut the teeth doing mobiles, but then they've grew a lot quicker. And next thing, they've gone from like bedroom DJ mobile to then like doing big clubs. Whereas I seem to be quite happy in the mobile disco. You know, I was like,
and there's nothing wrong with that, because at the end of the day, it's like the thing about a warm-up DJ. No one wants to be a warm-up DJ for some reason. It's one of the hardest jobs. You know, from doing functions. To start off with an empty dance floor. And create something and get that first person up and then keep them up and get the set. It's a fucking art form. And everyone wants to be the headline DJ. Everyone wants to play a fucking Glastonbury and Creamfields and, you know, fucking Miami and 20,000 people, all that kind of stuff. But there's a real art, and it's an unrecognised art of doing stuff like that. You know, functions. You know, I've been to functions and I've been fucking buttered. I was in a Warblank Social Club. I'd only just started out, really. I was only about 19, 20. And someone asked me, I don't even know how it came about, can you stand in for this DJ and play this social club? You know, I think probably about fucking 50 quid for the whole night. I'll have a go. And you know, when I was younger, I was fucking like that, like a little pencil. And I'm there behind the decks. And I think Nick had just been born, so it might have been 2021. And I'm playing all like fucking Freed from Desire, all the cheesy charty stuff. And some fella come over and went, do us a favour, mate. He said, all the Alpharts are fucking moaning there. Throw a bit of Motown on. I went, yeah, of course, yeah. Back then I had fucking crates full of fucking records, big crate full of 7-inch records. So me being this young kid, I went, right, we're gonna change up a little bit now. We've got a couple of old farts at the back. We're gonna play a little bit of Motown for you. Right. So I put a bit of Motown on. Through the fucking crowd. I sees this fucking fella. I always remember he was like a baldy fella with a shirt on. Like I say, I was about fucking 10 stone, piss wet through, you know what I mean? This fella come over and he fucking comes over right in my face. And he went, you just fucking called me bird and I'll fart. I went, what? He went, you he grabbed me by my ears. I had scratches behind my ears. He went, you just called me bird and I'll fart. Fuck off, and fucking butted me. I was like, what the fuck? And fucking the needle jumped over the record. Me being me, the first thing I did was put the needle back on to fucking Ever the Pro, like, you know, to fucking carry on playing. And I went over to the fella who owned the bar. I said, that fella's just fucking butted me there. He went, oh, he's a bit of a fucking egg case, you know, I'll make sure he doesn't do it again. Oh, will you? Fucking hell. Yeah, I remember going home that night. I had like all scratches there where he grabbed me and fucking butted me. Yeah, what are you, kid? Fucking shit myself. So anyway, it's Don't forget, you can catch me each and every Thursday night for my show, Absolute Old School, only on In Demand Radio, where I play you 2 hours of classics and a feast of forgotten gems, usually on the harder side of the spectrum. We kick off with the early 90s every week, and then we have the trance flashback section, followed by the spotlight section. In the past, we've featured clubs and events like Kinetic, The Drome, Good Grief, labels like Tidy Tracks, Bonsai and Shock, and artists such as Ultrasonic, Tony DeVee and Scott Brown. We always finish off nice and tough with the Go Hard or Go Home section. You can catch it on In Demand Radio Thursday nights from 11 p.m. or listen back absolutely free of charge on indemandradio.com or download the free In Demand Radio app for Apple or Android. It's a real art form to fucking play that kind of stuff. So I remember at the time, because it was weird because you were coming in as I was coming out. I was getting.
I always remember Gary Kitchen's party, and you came as a guest, and I was and I felt proper nervous because I was like, "Oh no way!" Like Gary, Gary was like, "Jay's coming on Saturday," and I was like, "Oh, for God's sake!"
That's right. I
remember mixing a tune, and because I was just playing all party stuff, and then I started playing a little bit of club, and I mixed something in, and you came over and you went, that was, good transition.
Yeah, yeah.
Good mix. I was like, oh, boss. And then like the weight was lifted then.
Yeah.
You know what I
The
mean?
thing is, as well, I mean, it's there's too many dickheads in the industry who like you would have there's people out there who would have sat there going, he's fucked that up. Do you know what I mean? And listen, we've all been there. We've all started out. The
Yeah,
first gig I ever played was in a church hall in fucking Birkenhead, and I put the tune on the wrong fucking speed.
yeah,
That was my first ever gig.
yeah,
Well, when I say the wrong speed, it was Pro 150s, and the pitch was the wrong way round to
yeah,
1210s. So
yeah.
I went to start on +8 and started the fucking -8, like boom, boom, oh, fuck shit, fucking hell. My first ever fucking
Hey,
track.
that's known as a good effect. That now
Yeah, yeah. Funny enough, I did a mix today of a hard trance,
the vinyl
hard,
break
hard,
effect.
hard techno mix, and I started off the tune.
Yeah,
Did it on Ableton, like, and the tune was like, say, 150 BPM.
yeah,
Started like 119 and just sped it up as the intro come in. Anyway, so I was kind of, I was getting towards quote unquote the end of my fucking career as you
yeah,
were starting out. And I
yeah.
remember you'd bought this equipment, and you did a few mixes. Oh, you remember? This is a funny story. You may or may not remember this. One of the first times you ever gave me a mix, and I don't think you'd sent me the link or whatever it was, or you'd emailed or whatever. And I remember going to work when we used to work together, and I had my headphones on, and I put this mix on. I'm sitting there in the toilet, and I'm thinking, hey, it's all like that, but what's that fucking like an annoying little thing in the background?
Yeah,
Like, why is he doing that? Like, why is he left a fucking loop on or something like that? Took my
yeah.
headphone out and the fucking fire alarm was going off. And that's what it was in the background. I could hear the fire alarm in the background of your mix. I'm thinking it's a nice little mix, that, but what's that little like a little what the
Yeah.
fuck's that? Took my headphone out and the fucking fire alarm was going off.
Oh, no
Yeah,
way.
yeah. So you were kind of just starting out
Yeah,
as I was on the back end because I think the last gig I ever played was with you.
yeah,
I'd fully retired as it was. I think about 2007, 2008.
yeah.
Your 40th, I think it was your 40th birthday.
30th.
Your
Yeah,
30th, sorry, yeah, your
yeah, yeah,
30th. And you booked me to play, and I was like, oh, I'll give up like now, but
yeah,
I'll come and play anyway.
yeah,
But you were smashing it there. I remember you were getting fucking gigs every week, and I remember at the time thinking, fucking hell,
yeah.
I was here, and now fucking Dave's here. You were smashing it, and you must have earned a few fucking quid as well.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. It was good times then. I think so. Like 2005 was the party year, and then 2006 I got involved with the Complete Group and Superb Functions. They were Manchester, and strange how my career started in Manchester because I
Yeah,
just could not get into town anywhere. Just couldn't get in anywhere. I'd get the odd gig in like a conservative club or something like that, but trying to actually get into the city, couldn't get in. So I got involved with Superb Functions, and I had to go and audition. I had to go to these places with 2 CDs, and there was a panel, it's like X Factor, and then they wanted to mark you on mic work and transition and everything. And anyway, I went there, passed the audition, and they started giving me work then, and it was well paid.
yeah.
So I was the resident DJ at the Palace Hotel in Manchester, and the Hilton. I had to get all my stuff right to the top of that skyscraper. And they owned bars as well. They owned the residencies at bars. So I was getting gigs in like Walkabout and places like that in Manchester. So I think that's where it really sort of stuff came together. Me mic
Yeah.
work, me mixing, me music knowledge or library, whatever you want to call it. Knowing what to play, knowing what gets people up. But there's a different taste in music in Manchester. You know, you've got like the Liverpool scene and the Manchester scene is slightly different.
Yeah.
And it always has been. I think it always will. So I was then going to a gym and I was training with like Lee McKay and Lee McKay and Ian Kay. And we were I think it was a Fitness First or anyway, I can't remember. But Ian just said one day, he went, there's a gig going there in town, a residency. And I already had loads of mobile work booked. And I thought, if I take on this residency, which is like every Saturday night in Concert Square, I was like, I'm going to have to try and cover all these gigs that I've said I'll do because they were contracted. You got a contract, you signed it. It was all proper. And I don't like letting people down, I thought. So I went through all the gigs where people wanted me, and then I went through all the gigs that people just wanted the DJ. Yeah. So I got in touch with the Complete Group and Superb Functions, and I said, how many gigs is there where they've actually requested me? Because like I've done their like aunties or something.
And he said, "No, you cheeky bastards."
Human. There was only a handful. So he goes, I said, well, look, all the other gigs, I said, just get them covered for me, please. I said, I've got this residency and I don't want to, it's an opportunity to get me into my own city. So, and then Ian and Lee said, oh yeah, it's this fella called Carl Burns. He's like the main guy for like Pop World, and he owns loads of DJs in town. So I phoned Carl Burns and he said, yeah, he said, we need a DJ. And I said, where's it for? And he went, Flares. So, and I just cancelled all that and I went, Flares. So, but beggars can't be choosers, can they?
Yeah.
So I went, okay, mate.
At least it's in Liverpool, isn't it?
Yeah. And I went, what Flares is it? And he went, it's the one in Seal Street, like. And I went, okay. So he said, look, mate, he said, just do it. He said, and it'll open some doors. He said, if you do a good job, he said, and I went, okay. So I'd done it for 3 months. I had to wear a big, like, 70s wig. Right? So again, I've got a photo somewhere. I had like a Hawaiian, what they used to call a twat shirt.
Yeah.
Right. And then all my mates would come in every week and we'd have a good laugh. But yeah, I was there for 3 months. And then Carl said, oh, do you want a DJ in Edwards Bar? Like, and I went, oh, right, okay. He said, you're interested? And I went, yeah, I'd done about 3 months in Flares.
Yeah.
So he moved me into Edwards Bar, which was interesting because I used to go to Edwards Bar with Barry and everyone, all my mates.
Yeah.
So it was weird to go back there as the DJ. And I'd done pretty well there. And then I was just starting to put my own stamp on it and get my own following. And then they announced they'd sold it and they were closing. And I thought, bloody hell, I'm going to be out of work. Anyway, this lady came in one night and there I am DJing. It's a shame really because they had 1210s, but they were wrecked. They had no styluses on them or anything.
Yeah.
And I often think to this day, what happened to them? I would have, before they ripped it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was on this crappy little Denon CD mixer thing. I used to hate it. And this girl,
we don't use the D word.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Not on this podcast. Not on my watch.
You were horrible, mate. Anyway, this woman stood next to me like all night, and I'm like that DJing away. Place is busy, thank God. And at the end of the night, I thought, who the bloody hell is she? And she just said, yeah, she said, I'm Maureen. She said, you might know me as Smokey Mo. And I went, yeah, and I thought I was losing my job. And she said, do you know I've bought this place? And I was like, no. And she went, yeah, I should have bought it. She said, I've been here all night watching you. She said, I want you to be my DJ.
Fuck off.
Yeah, she said, right, we're not going to be open for 6 weeks. She said, I don't want to lose you. She said, so I'm going to pay you your wages for 6 weeks while we're shut. And she said, and I want you to come back.
Boss.
So I had 6 weeks off with wages. And then when it was all done up, I think it's called Macaulay's or something now? Or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was Temple Court, Matthew Street, Smoky Mo's 2, they called it. Anyway, started my new residency with there, and it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Chocker every week. I was started doing 8 till 2, then I was doing 8 till 4, then I was doing 8 till 6, DJing for 10 hours. And they had, I don't know if you remember, there was a big hole in the ceiling and a balcony. And we were getting that busy. And I went to a meeting once and we were sat there and I just said to Maureen, I said, I think you need to fill that hole in. And I said, I get asked all night for R&B and I used to just play all like funky house music and stuff like that with a little bit of chalk and cheese. And I said, why don't you fill the hole in, shut for 2 weeks, get builders in, fill it all in and get another DJ upstairs who just plays R&B. And I'll look after the house music. And she went, sound. So they shut while he done that. And she went, who do you recommend? And I said, Bobby D. Yeah. So Bobby D ends up doing upstairs and we had it nailed. It was amazing. But then she had ties with City FM, advertising on City FM. I don't know whether because we were so busy, me and Bobby were pissing people off. But when we were open till 6 and other bars would shut. And we'd see other DJs coming in who we knew had problems with us, or I don't know whether it was jealousy or what, I don't know. Yeah. But you know, when you're trying to DJ and they're all at the bar and they're just staring at you, and their bar's been dead all night, and
Yeah.
you've been rammed.
Yeah.
I was just, and then I was coming in, and I used to have to take everything myself because stuff was getting sabotaged. Like leads, I'd go in and leads would be missing, and then they check on the cameras and someone had been in there, and you know, pliers cutting stuff, and it just got. So I ended up saying to Maureen, I said, listen, I said, I don't like what's going on here. I said, someone doesn't want me and Bobby here. So she said, well, if you can cover all my entertainment, Dave, she said, I'll give you the full shebang. You can be my entertainment manager. And at the time, I was unhappy at Goodrich. Yeah. I was actually thinking of leaving. So I thought, bloody hell, I could do this full time. Anyway, I said, right, okay. She said, right, you need to cover me karaoke gigs, me singers. You need to orchestrate it all yourself. And I was like, right, okay. I said, I can do this.
Yeah.
So she was like, right. And then I don't know what changed, mate. I went and done my night shift at Lucas's. This a couple of days later. I got up the next day. I had a shitload of missed calls on my phone. I was like, oh, what's going on? And I phoned Maureen. She was crying her eyes out. And she said, I'm really sorry, Dave. So I'm going to have to let you go. And I was just like, what? And she said, I don't know who you've pissed off. She said, but someone who you've pissed off is good mates with someone at City FM. She said, and I get free advertising with City FM. And they've basically said, if I cut ties with them, I won't be able to get me free advertising.
Fuck off.
Yeah. So she was like, me hands are tied. I'm gutted. She said, but it's the easiest thing to do is to let you go.
Wow.
And I was just like, shut. I literally went from thinking, I won the battle.
Yeah.
I'm going to fight these bullies, because they were just bullies.
Yeah.
Fight them. And yeah, it unfortunately, it went down that road. But it came at the right time because I was having problems at home. Michelle.
Well, I was going to touch on that because you just said there, you start off doing 2 hours, then you're doing 4, then you're doing 8. Yeah. Obviously, we work shifts, which could be earlys, late, or nights. Yeah. And then you're out of a weekend for sometimes 10, 12 hours out the house. I was going to say, how was that affecting things at home? You've just touched on it there, so go on.
Yeah, I'll always remember I could never just come, like, as you know, when you come back from a gig, if I get, even if I'm DJing till midnight and I get home for 20 past 12, I still can't go to bed till like 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Especially if it's been a proper wild gig. So the problem was, even if I came home at 6:30, I couldn't go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to go to G Bar a lot, because they were open till all hours. So I'd finish at Smoky Mo's, and then I'd go to G Bar, and I'd stand with John Cotton for a bit in the DJ box with him, and I'd just unwind. And then I'd get home for like 8 o'clock, and I'd come in, Michelle's breastfeeding Joseph. Yeah. Sam's like crawling around the floor and happy. Yeah. And so when Maureen said, you know, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let you go. Although I was like, it was like a weight had been lifted. I thought, don't have to deal with all them politics anymore.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was taken over. And when you're a DJ in town, every week you are fighting for that position. You know someone's right behind you, and they want that residency off you.
Yeah.
So I was spending all my midweek spare time. I should have been spending it with my kids and Michelle. I had a little studio, and I was like developing my own mashups, going through playlists, saying like, right, I'll start with this. I was always trying to like improve and excel and outdo anyone. And I'd only have certain people cover me. You know, if I was off going on holiday, you don't want someone to cover you who's going to end up stealing your job.
Yeah.
So, so I could only have certain people cover me, people who would trust, people who knew wouldn't try and outdo me or reinvent the wheel. And it opened my eyes. I just thought, oh my God, town is just full of like vultures, just like, you know. And I'd speak to DJs in like Glasgow, Newcastle, London. I was speaking to all kinds of different DJs, and they said like it's not like that where they are. They said it's just a Liverpool thing.
Really? Yeah.
It started to get me to like resent my own city, because there was just this sort of like cult, sort of like clique of like, and a lot of it was, there was a lot of bullying. It was like the ice cream wars in the 80s, I believe. Like there was a lot of ice cream men fighting over territory.
Yeah, we seen that by ours. There was 2 ice cream men There was Angelo and Frank, and the only way I can describe it is Angelo had the white Mr. Whippy ice cream, and Frank's was like the Cornish,
Yeah,
like creamy ice cream.
yeah,
And he'd come at different times. I'll never forget it. It must have been the 80s, late 80s.
yeah,
And this one day, Frank come round the corner, and then so did Angelo, and we were like, oh, fucking hell. And then they got out and they were talking to each other. It was amicable. It seemed amicable. He might have been fucking
yeah.
threatening all sorts. And we never seen Frank ever again.
No.
True story. Anyone who's from Netherley will remember that. Yeah, true story. And Angelo, funny enough, is still an ice cream man to this day. He's still doing the rounds. We went to Sefton Park for the Welly Walk last year, and there's
Yeah,
an ice cream man there, and I went, "Fuck off! It's fucking Angelo."
yeah,
Yeah, he's still smashing it. So yeah,
nice.
so back to what you're saying then. There's always been a click
Yeah,
in Liverpool, and for the longest time in the 90s, it was, if you weren't involved with Lee Butler, Mark Simon, Marco, Steve McGee, Pez Tellis, and there was others as well. They
yeah,
were the names, and if you
yeah,
weren't involved with them, you just weren't getting anywhere.
yeah,
And I don't think it's really changed as much. It's not as clicky, but obviously from what you're saying there with the bar scene and the club scene in town,
yeah,
it's very cutthroat. It's
yeah,
it's a very bitchy industry, unfortunately. I
yeah,
think things have changed now. I think social media in some aspects has changed it for the better.
yeah,
I for one would never dream of going online and slagging someone off
yeah,
because it's childish
yeah,
and you don't know the full story more often than not. But
yeah,
so I think for the DJ community as a whole, social media has become the norm now is to big your mates up. The norm now is to give your mates a pat on the back and say, well done. But
yeah,
for the longest time, the culture was, he's fucking shit, that Jenko, I'll fucking,
yeah,
I can do it for, how much you charge you? I can do it for less than that, girl. Honestly,
yeah,
I'll have this place fucking rammed. I've played there.
yeah,
Because if it's your business, it does become cutthroat, unfortunately. And
yeah,
obviously, it was always been different for me because I've always been a clubber where I was getting gigs for 45 minutes or an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. But for you, like it was a lifestyle. You were going
yeah,
there for 4, 6, 8, sometimes 10 hours, and
yeah,
it was a good wage.
yeah,
So it was a lot more cutthroat for you than it ever was for me.
yeah.
So when you got kind of fucked off by Smokey Mo, was that the pivotal point of you having a break?
Yeah, I mean, I had around that time. It's a shame, really, because around that time, I just got. I honestly thought, this is it, and I was starting to like network with a lot of like your Les Calvert, Little John, Dave Booth, rest in peace. Um, a lot of the Garland's DJs and G Bar DJs, I had a really good rapport with, and you know, I think they knew, like, you know, we all knew where we stood. You know, I wasn't like up their arse to try and get a residency. I was just a big fan, and and they helped me and advised
Yeah,
me because I'd done me so many years on the mobile scene. I'd got into town, so I was like, right, the next step for me then is you've got to set your goals somewhere.
yeah, yeah,
So I felt like it was all going at the right speed, and I managed to get a gig. Pez Talent was involved with it was the old arena bar. It's called Holy Joe's, and him and Anton Powers were doing a night there. And I didn't know at the time, and I managed to go along. There was a few live PAs on, and my sister and all that came to support me. It was a good night, and I didn't know we were live on Juice FM. I mean, I don't know how many mixes are fucked up or whatever. I don't
yeah.
know, but I didn't know at the time. But yeah, I Juice FM was a thing around the time, and
Juice FM was massive at the time,
yeah,
wasn't it?
and Anton Powers had just he'd been working with like Roscoe and a few others, and Roscoe was there singing Yellow Brick Road, and yeah, it was just one of them moments where I thought this seems to be clicking here, and that's when I met Pez. Obviously, I know you've had Pez on the show, and I got other gigs from that, but it was just all around that summer where things ended at Smoky Mo's, and I'm the type of person where, like, if something knocks me, and I've had this since I was a kid, if something knocks me, it knocks me.
Yeah.
I'm not strong. I've never been strong enough to like go, like, I mean, not that me and Michelle have ever split up, but like, I think like if Michelle said, right, that's it, we're done. I'm not one of these lads who can go, right, you know, best thing to get over a bird is to get
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
one, whatever
Yeah,
the
yeah.
saying is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it just anything to do with like loyalty or friendship or anything, like it knocks me, and I
Yeah.
have to like it takes me a while to recover, and that proper knocked me. Like I
Yeah.
haven't got thick skin, and like I was like, it made me realize these people you're working with in town, they've got
Snakes,
thick
mate.
skin. They've got thick skin, and they're just animals, mate. And if they can, like, they would literally sell the nan. You know what I mean? Whereas I'd give you my last fiver, you know, and you can't change you what's it? You can't
Yeah.
change your leopard spots or whatever. I don't know
A leopard doesn't change
yeah,
its spots.
yeah. You know, so you are who you are. So if they're from the gutter and been dragged up, I don't know how to treat people, and I'm this lovely lad who would do anything for anyone.
Yeah.
You're never gonna have a friendship there, you know. And I was in the wrong circles, and it's just a shame that I just couldn't seem to get into that circle where the nice guys were, like your John Cottons and all that. I just
Yeah.
couldn't seem to break into that. And I think if I'd stuck at it a bit longer, I might have just got into that network, and
Yeah.
maybe I've been saved. I don't know, but so from then on, I just went right. I'm having 3 years out. So
Yeah.
Joey was a baby. Sam was on the floor. And from 2010 to 13, didn't DJ once in 3 years. Yeah.
And what prompted the comeback? What changed your mindset?
So they announced the closure at Goodrich,
Yeah.
and I just started to think there's going to be 300 fellas trying to get a job in the same area. So I thought, I've got a massive mortgage. How am I going to pay my mortgage? So I thought, I need to get back into my DJing,
Yeah.
so that if I don't get an engineering job or a manager's job anywhere, at least I've got my DJing.
I've only met Michelle a couple of times, but I can actually visualize it rolling her eyes when you've had that conversation.
Yeah,
Listen, Michelle, I'm gonna get back at for fuck's
I
sake.
know, I know.
Was that what was that conversation like?
Yeah, I think because it was either go to Wolverhampton, which is where I am now, and I would have gone. You know, John England and all them, they all came up from Wolves with Ed Dryden and that, and just started headhunting people, just like, right, we want you, we want you, we want you. And Ed Dryden, he was a young site manager down in Wolves, and his missus was the head of HR, and they came up and they said, we want you. And I was going, mate. I was going to go to Wolves, and then I just bottled it last minute. I looked at my kids; they were babies, and I knew I'd always end up there, which is where I am now. But I just needed that time for me boys to grow up.
What was your role then? Because you were were you a manager back then or
Shift manager, yeah,
shift manager? Yeah, in
yeah,
Goodrich.
yeah. So they
Yeah,
wanted me to be a shift manager down in Wolves with the opportunity to become an ops manager. So there was a career incentive.
yeah, yeah,
And then they done a transfer package where I think they like gave you so much money to compensate you for like moving your kids' schools,
yeah.
selling your house, getting a house down there. So it was all going, mate. And then just this one day, I just went down and I just bottled it, mate. They were all sat there. The fella who was shutting Heighton was there. And I was just like, and it just got a bit too much. And I went, I'm really sorry to waste everyone's time. I said, I can't do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got back to my desk. Martin Green went, you going then? They want you down there because they wanted you there and then.
Yeah.
They didn't say like, oh yeah, finish your time at Heighton.
Yeah.
They wanted you there.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah.
And I got back to my desk and Martin Green said, are you going? And I went, no. And he went, I'm going to go then. And he led down and went, I'll do it.
Yeah. I'll do it.
Yeah.
He was always a bit like that, Mark, wasn't he?
Yeah. He's
I'll do
it.
Yeah. Is he? Yeah. Oh, good to hear, mate.
Yeah. So, and then, I just thought, right, I need to get back into DJing. So started at Millie's. Like Michelle said, by all means, get back into it, but it needs to be local. She said, I don't want you going back to town and getting bullied and all that. She went, just stay local. People who know you, you've got a good following around here. Everyone knows you. So I started in Millie's Wine Bar with Kev. Yeah.
So where are you working now? Because obviously since that, so we had in the interim there, we had the pandemic where nobody was getting any work. But what were you doing in the pandemic?
So I decided, I thought, if I'm gonna, I don't know whether I was one of the first to do a live stream. I don't know, but when the pandemic hit, I started doing live streams straight away. But I was doing them properly. It took a while for people to realize what you need to do. A lot of the club DJs they're all superstar club DJs, but they haven't got a clue about equipment. Yeah. So you had DJs doing live streams and just using the audio on
the room audio, so you can hear all the clicks and the farts and the fucking squeaky shoes and all that.
Yeah, whereas I knew about audio interfaces, sound cards, this, that, and the other. So I started doing a proper live stream. I'd set all my stuff up, disco lights, decks, the lot, and I'd set all that up. And I thought, if I'm going to do it, it needs to be done properly. And like your radio show, it needs to be the same time every week. So it was at 7:00 on a Saturday every week, and I didn't miss one. Yeah. And at one point, I think I had over 1,000 people one week, and I'd have my iPad there with the feed, and I'd be like mixing, trying to keep up with the feed, because I don't like. And then even if I did miss people out, the next day I'd spend hours going through everyone who had missed out, and I'd get back to them and go, "Sorry, I missed you there." Yeah. And it goes a long way, you know.
Of course, does, yeah.
Yeah, and then I seen everyone jumping on the bandwagon, and loads of people doing live streams, and then it was making me feel sick. But then you'd see DJs competing against each other, do live streams that they're not even getting paid for. You were like, check me out, I'm on at 8. No. And then someone who used to be on at 8 is now saying, check me out, I'm on at 7.
Yeah, I'm on a 7:15. Yeah, get on me.
Yeah. And I was just saying to Michelle, like, these guys, like, they're not even getting paid, And funny enough, I spent the most money ever on DJ equipment during the pandemic. Yeah. When I wasn't even getting any wages. Yeah. I went out and got me XE controller. Just one night, within 15 minutes, I spent $5,000. I just went, click, buy now, XE, buy now, MacBook. The MacBook was $3,000, the XE was $2,000.
Okay, yeah.
And Michelle went nuts. She went, you spent $5,000 and you don't even know when you're going to be DJing again. Yeah. And then you have people like, hey Marco, can I get on this? Can I get on the Paradox thing this week? Or can I go the Rewind? And you have people like messaging you, like you were a club owner, saying, all right, Jenko, any chance I can get on the Rewind this week to do a live stream and all that? Like, and you'd be like, do these people like, you know what I mean? It's just a bit weird.
Yeah, it's so funny you say that, because for me, obviously, I played what was my last gig for your 30th birthday party. And then that was, what year was that? 2008?
2009 or
thereabouts.
Yeah, 2009, I think.
2009. That was my last ever gig. And then for 12, 13 years, I'd give up. I wasn't DJ anymore. But in that time, I must have bought and sold maybe 10 different lots of fucking kit.
Yeah.
I'd had CDJs up in the loft. I'd had a controller. I'd had fucking a coffin with 2 CDJs and a mixer in. Yeah. I had a little controller, I'd had this and that. And I'd bought myself an XTJ XR2. Is it XR2? RX2, an RX2.
Yeah.
Which is the all-in-one Pioneer.
Yeah.
And I had that. And I had the flight case or the soft case. Excuse me. And it was just behind the couch. And I got it out once in the kitchen, had a little mess with it, back behind the couch. As with a lot of stuff, I wasn't using it, so I sold it.
Yeah. You've always been a bit of a buyer and seller, wheeler dealer.
Yeah. So I sold it.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm going to say a week, maybe 2 weeks tops after that, we went into lockdown. I was like, bastard, I would have had a fucking time, because I sold it because I didn't have time to play it. Yeah. As you know yourself, work, kids, missus, dog, whatever. Just didn't have time to utilise it. So I sold this boss bit of kit, and we went into lockdown. I was like, fucking hell. So I went to Argos and bought a DDJ 400.
Yeah.
About that big of this little fucking tiny thing.
I've got that as my backup.
It's brilliant. Mate, I had more fucking fun with that.
Yeah.
And then that's what kind of got me back into it then.
Yeah.
It was doing all that. Obviously, I never got into the live stream and stuff like that. So how did you get involved with music medicine? Obviously, I've played for music medicine last year.
Yeah.
I'm playing again this year. But you've been involved with the guys for quite some time. How did that come about?
So so Lee McKay, who was I went to gym with, and he got me into town. He's good mates with Dave Worthy, and they done a mashup years ago called Emotional Children, which is like Whitney versus Robert
Okay.
Miles.
I was going to say,
Or
quite a haunting title, isn't it?
yeah,
Fucking hell. Heavy
Robert
that.
Miles or Bobby
Damaged
Kilometers.
children.
Yeah, but it's a boss tune, and on one of my live streams, I'd always play it and like give them a little shout. But I'd never met Dave Worthy. But Lee McKay was one of the DJs at Mood Indigo, which is one of the places we used to go when we were clubbing. So I'd always wanted to meet him because I used to just see Worthy and McKay, but I'd never met the guy. And then Lee messaged me one day and just said, like, me and Dave are getting back together. We're going to do some live streams. We're going to call it the Rewind. And we want you to be like the third wheel, like. So I was like, oh, boss. So I just got involved with that. And then I sort of left the live streams that I've been doing for 12 months. I sort of like left them then and went into the Rewind. So my Saturday live stream audience that were tuning in, they were tuning to me, but on another platform. And it just grew and grew and grew. And then Chris Butler came on board. And then we all started getting our own slots then, our own time, our own slot. I think Chris done the Sundays, Chris Butler. And he was playing all like the drone stuff and, you know, all that good stuff. And we all sort of had our own styles. And then, yeah, it just grew from there. And then Dave, when we came out of the lockdown, Dave said, I want to give something back. He said, it'd be good to give something back to the people. He said, so I'm thinking of doing a night. He said, but for some reason, I don't really want to call it the Rewind. He said, I'm thinking of music medicine. And then when he sent me the artwork and everything just looked perfect. It all just seemed to fit. So we start, as everyone, we started the bottom and we built up, and we've had some amazing gigs. We've had gigs where we thought it's going to be dead and it's shocker. And then we've had gigs where, you know, they haven't been as good as the others. We've had some amazing DJs on, like yourself, Little John, Robbie Edwards, and then obviously all the Reminisce Bar crew are there. You know, Andy Tranter, Dave Bolton, and everyone. Yeah. So it's been a boss collaboration of DJs all similar age, all similar tastes in music. We're not in it for the money, you know. And we've got our next one on. Is it the 3rd of May? Is it?
It's May the 3rd. Yeah, May the 3rd. Yeah. It's in. Is it in WAV? Is it?
No, it's in District. This one.
District. Yeah, it's in District. Yeah. Little John's headlining. I'm co-headlining, and obviously all the residents as well. Yeah. Celebrating my 50th.
I can't believe that.
Fucking hell.
Weird. Yeah.
Tell me about it. But I remember being a kid looking in the mirror and looking at little hairs on my lip, thinking, look at the muzzy of the beard and all that. And I'm fucking here. I am fucking 50. Yeah. Fucking crazy, isn't it? So listen, I'm quite conscious of time now, Dave. So we're gonna finish off now with some quick fire questions.
Okay.
Dave Jenks, I will take your first answer and your first answer only. Are you ready?
I think so.
What is your worst habit?
Habit? Fucking hell. Have you asked anyone else this? Is this a first?
No, it's not a first. There's a couple of firsts on it, like. Is it avoiding questions?
I'll say farting.
Yeah. If you were on death row and you could have any meal, what would it be?
It'd have to be something American, like ribs, or, you know, like a big like American Yankee meal. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
First purchase if you won the Euro Millions lottery.
Nissan Skyline GTR, probably, yeah.
Rank these 3 in order of best to worst. Celebrations, Heroes, and Quality Street.
I'd say
I'm going to have to rush you.
Yeah. I'd say Heroes, Celebrations, Quality Street. In that order.
I'd probably go with that as well.
Yeah.
RoboCop or Terminator?
RoboCop.
Tempe Mix or Space Raiders?
Tempe Mix.
What superhero would you be?
Superman.
Alive or dead, if you could have dinner with anyone, who would it be?
Bruce Lee.
Rocky 3 or Rocky 4?
Rocky 4, is that the one with Dolph Lundgren?
Yes.
Yeah, Rocky 4, yeah.
What's your favourite insult or swear word?
Probably the C word.
What, cancer?
Uh,
Alive or dead, if you could watch anyone in concert, who would it be?
oh, Michael Jackson.
Lee Evans or Peter Kay?
Peter Kay.
Favourite non-dance music track?
Uh, Milli
It's
Vanilli.
going to be Mariah, isn't it?
Yeah, probably a Mariah one, yeah. Go with Mariah.
On a bacon butty, red sauce or brown sauce?
Brown sauce.
What is one thing you would rid from the world?
Uh, yeah, poverty, hunger.
On chips, ketchup or mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise.
If this was a movie, who would play you and who would play me?
The Rock would play me, obviously.
Obviously.
And then, I don't know.
Kevin
Brad Pitt or
Hart,
someone for you.
maybe. Danny DeVito, maybe.
George Clooney for you. Yeah. Only because you're 50.
Yeah, yeah. Conor Ben or Chris Eubank Jr.?
Ooh, Eubank.
And what's the best podcast? Go back. What's the best podcast you've ever been on?
This one.
Hey, right. So, Dave, where can we catch you now, mate? Where do you couldn't because you've got quite a few current residencies, haven't you? Where
Yeah.
are you playing now? Where are you playing
So,
this weekend, the next weekend, and stuff like that?
so the weekly one is the Friday, and that's AJ Bars in McGull.
Okay.
Every Friday at 7 p.m. till late. Yeah, best cocktails and tunes in L31. They've also got the takeaway next door as well, Little Italy, which is good. I said I'd give them a little bit of a shout. But yeah, it's only been open just over a year. I think they've just had the 1 year birthday. But it's a lovely little micro bar, and it's got a nice sort of bar vibe. So I've just been dropping all the like disco house, like remixes. So like it doesn't matter what age you are, you'll know the vocal, even though
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
been modernized. So I'm playing a lot of like Block and Crown, Jackass Revenge, all that good stuff. Disco Girls, all that. It
Very
seems to
good.
work. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. What
yeah.
about any other residencies?
So yeah, just the local areas as and when they require me. The coaching horses, Millies. I've got a going back to the days when I used to DJ with Kev Seed. We're doing like a bit of reunion on the 29th of March. An old school reunion there. Obviously, Kev can't make it due to ill health. So I'm looking forward to that. I've got another gig there later on in the year as well. And then obviously music medicine. And then me Historia. I've got my Historia events with Lewis. We're part owners in Historia. That's at the Queen's Arms. The 20th of April was sort of, John B and Demand
Yeah, yeah,
Takeover.
yeah.
So they're getting involved with the Queens. We're doing a marquee and all the rest of it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, they want me and Lewis involved in it as well. So
Brilliant.
although it's an in-demand event, me and Lewis are going to have a bit of involvement on it.
Fantastic. So before we sign off, anyone you want to give a mention to or a shout out to?
Yeah, there's.
Fucking hell, he got a list.
Yeah, I just want
wish
to.
you hadn't mentioned it now.
Yeah, so basically, just me inspirations: yourself, John B, Les Calvert, Dave Booth, rest in peace, Little John, Dave Graham, Kev Seed, Nigel Evans, Kev C, Cartwright from Lucas. He taught me how to use the Mark IIIs, the 1000s.
Nice.
They were funny times. Carl Burns, Jimmy C, John Cotton, Andy McGrath, Carl Cox, Marco Carola, Seth Bath, James Hype, Kyle Murphy, Jay Hobbs, DJ Heather, Ant Ashcroft, Ian Kay, Dave Worthy, and all the guys at Reminisce Bar, and all the Music Medicine brothers, Rob Kane, Robbie Edwards, Lewis C, my Historia business partner, Rossi over in Dubai, Alaskans, John Lewis, the DJ tutor, Taz Jones, Phil Shepherd, and anyone else. I apologise, but we are running out of time. So yeah.
Fantastic. First and foremost, Dave, thank you so much for doing this. It was nice to have you on the other side of the table, so to speak. And like I say, it's always great to other people's stories. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing all your stories.
Thanks so much, mate. Yeah.
Right, guys, as I always say at the end of every episode, I don't know who or what is next. Stay tuned. Thank you to my sponsors, Dapper Turkish Barbers, and I'll see you all soon. Take care, guys.